Hickok 45, your internet shooting companion, coming to you from the beautiful hills of Middle Tennessee. Yes, let's shoot some.
Life is good.
Gong time.
Life is good.
All right. Life is good. It's so good, I almost forgot my hat, didn't I? Yes, coming to you from Tennessee, the home of Alvin York, Sam Houston, Jeff Quinn, all sorts of cool people. Yes, some pioneers actually came through here. You might have heard about a few of them. So glad to be with you on another Sunday. And yeah, man, another week. And a little earlier in the week, again, I've got stuff going on here Sunday and Saturday. But it's good to be back. And it's still summer, right? Mid-July, almost the end of July. We're getting close to the end of July. Scary, huh? So I'm really glad you came out to suffer through and risk getting ticks. You know, mosquito bites, ticks, all those sorts of things that you get in the country. Some people don't even know about those. Some of you have probably never even seen a little blood-sucking tick, right? Well, how did that come up for a topic? I just made a connection to something that goes on in the world these days. A lot of people, now you could get sick from a tick. You could get Rocky Mountain spotted fever. In fact, several years ago, I had some weird things going on, and the doctor thought that might have been what it was. I mean, it wasn't deathly ill or anything, it was just little ill and weird things. And turned out it was some symptoms, early symptoms of my gallbladder that I had to have taken out and all that, you know, later. But the next year we sort of figured that out. But you have Lyme disease and all those kinds of things. But again, you can hide in the house. You can stay out of the woods. You could even wear a face covering, and maybe that would help, right? I mean, you can hide from the world, but I'm out every day in the woods almost every day, and there are ticks everywhere. Why am I still alive? That's my question to you. Why am I still alive? And have been my whole life. And I've been in the country a lot in my entire life. I've had ticks. I have pulled so many ticks. Well, I'm not like an old dog loaded with ticks. I don't want to bring scary images to your brain, cause nightmares, because that would cause nightmares for me. I've had dogs back in the day when I was young get so many ticks on them at a time, it was really kind of gross, scary. Surprised they didn't die from them. But I mean, it's just very common growing up for me in the country. When I was in the country, we were both places back and forth, but you know, I mean, at night have a couple of ticks stuck in your hair or on your back or wherever. And happens around here. I had 2 on my ankle about 6 days ago. Still got an itch from one of them where I pulled it off. Little bitty ticks. I hate those the worst. And still itches where I pulled it off, but it's just kind of common. But then again, I might go weeks and not have a tick, you know, because I take precautions. You know, when my grandson comes, we spray and we're careful. That's one reason I keep the trails mowed, and I don't go marching off into an area that's not that has a lot of weeds and grass, high grass. I don't have any need to. I have all the trails through the place wherever I want to walk or ride my bike or hike and that sort of thing. Have some trails, so it's really, really rare that I ever walk in grass that hasn't been mowed. But you still get them; they fall out of trees and that kind of thing occasionally. But I spray down, use Avon, I've told you about, and I've got the lotion plus the Skin So Soft, the stronger stuff, and I just put it on in the morning around my waist and everywhere, and my legs, my ankles when I get up before I even get dressed, because I know I'm going to be out here. And so the day I got those, about 6 days ago, I think it was that day I didn't think I was going to be out here. It was going to be rainy, and I was going to Nashville and run around, and I wasn't going to be in the woods, I believe. But I got a couple down in my sock, and got them stuck on me, sucking my blood out of my brain. It's what's happened to me over the years. That's why I ain't gotten much IQ left. Ticks sucked it right out of me. But anyway, you can hide out from things like that, or you can take precautions, or you can crouch in a corner, hide behind a desk, because you heard that one out of whatever 1,000 people that get tick bit die, or they get some dread disease. I mean, so anyway, we all play the numbers every time we get in a car. That's the biggest gamble we take when we get in a car. Believe me, don't you know it? If you've been out in a car lately, wow, traffic is worse than ever, heavier than ever, and people are crazier than ever. I guess after being locked down, or maybe they're just crazy to begin with. But there's more of it, evident, and I hate to get on the road almost. I don't know what it is. I mean, people are just crazy, and tailgating and all that. It does no good to tailgate me. I drive the speed limit plus anyway, but on the interstate, I stay in the right lane, unless I'm passing. But I'm not that guy riding along the left lane going 68 miles an hour, right? I'm not that old guy. But just on a highway, interstate, 2-lane road rather, county road or whatever, you don't want to tailgate me. I got rocket launchers that come out of my taillights, and I mean, they're very accurate. They're heat seekers. Just kidding. But you don't want to tailgate me. All that does is slow me down. It really does. And I'm not going to cause a wreck, but I'll touch the brake. I let you know. I see your idiotic face back there, and guess what? Get up closer. The closer you get, the slower I go. That's just me being obstinate. But I drive. Hold your ears, all policemen. I drive beyond the speed limit, wherever I am, probably. Okay, but just barely. I mean, just a little bit. If it's 35 miles per hour zone, maybe a 40. If it's 70, I'm probably going 74, 5. Okay, I know there's a buffer built in there, and I don't want a ticket, and I don't need to drive all that fast. There's nowhere I am that desperate to be that 30 seconds is going to ruin my day. Okay, or 2 minutes, or whatever it might be. Okay, a lot of people need to remember that on the road. I think they're just crazy, zipping around you. And I had a guy pass me I was on a state highway just yesterday. Yeah, we were going uphill. It was a double yellow line. I was going, speed limit was 50, I think. I was going 55 at least. A 2-lane, a fairly curvy road, and hilly and everything, in a county, and some guy, or I guess, I don't know if it's a guy or gal, passed me going up the hill on a no passing zone, double yellow line, trying to say. And it got around me and survived it, but I wasn't going slow. And you see that all the time. And people just need to relax a second. Where are you going that risking your life makes it worth it? Again, I've alluded to this before. I'll never forget an Ellen Goodman column in the Tennessean newspaper about 30 years ago or more. I don't know if she's still alive. She was not politically in tune with me, but I loved her writing, and I'd read her column almost every time I would see it. Great writer, Ellen Goodman. But she had an article on it. Was about I told this before, I think, somewhere, but what was that thing called? There was a supersonic, I guess most of them are supersonic, but what was that thing called? The jet that was, I think it was suspended for some reason, flights several years back, but for a period of a decade or two, from the United States, I don't know what it was, New York to London, and it was the fastest flight. Some of you know what I'm talking about. I can't remember the name of it, but it was, I guess it was just one plane, but it was really fast, and it cost, I guess, extra dollars, of course, to ride it. And she wrote a column, and that was part of the topic about, kind of the gist of it was, what are you going to do with the time you save? Why is it so important to cut that extra 30 minutes off, or that hour, whatever it is? And and she went through a litany of things like, were you going to find a cure for cancer? That's why you need to get there 30 minutes sooner. We're going to have an opportunity to spend time with your children that you were not going to, or she just went through a list of things. Don't remember what they all were. And, it was a thought-provoking thing. Yeah, we all get in a hurry to get somewhere. Well, 5 minutes can make a difference. Well, did you hate your vehicle? Do you hate the music you're playing or podcast you're listening to? We all need to relax a little bit. And I'm like a reformed smoker. When I was in my 20s, I was bad about that. I recall when I was early 20s, maybe I was just arguing with my wife or something, I don't know, but I remember just being with the light being anxious for the light to change and get moving, and I was just more like that. I hate to admit it, but I got out of that certainly by the time I was 30. And I wasn't horrible. I wasn't a road rage dude or anything, but I was worse. But I don't know, somewhere around 30, I don't know, maybe after I read that column, I just, there's no reason to get in that big a hurry, No, I drive fast, but it's worrying about that extra minute, because that's all you get. Haven't you ever had someone riding on your tail, and then they zoom around you to get another spot ahead, and then you all end up at the next traffic light at the same time, right? And hit the next traffic light at the same time, or at the, they don't really gain much. They really do often just gain a matter of seconds. And all that anxiety, that frustration that they're involved in, and you're not, but you get there about the same time. That's the thing that's always funny. And again, it's one thing if you're about to die, you got to get to the hospital, but just not much that important, right? So slow down, turn on the radio, maybe turn the news off if that's causing anxiety. Turn on some nice music and relax. I do that more and more these days. I've got XM radio in my car and everything, but it's nice. I'll just get off the news. I do. It's nice having that, traveling wherever you are in the middle of New Mexico or in the desert or wherever you are. But I get over to music. I have one of my favorite channels is Lawrence Welk, music, and I listen to that most of the time. That was a joke. Most people know who Lawrence Welk is. I remember my parents used to like to watch that, and I would die. No, it's called Classic Vinyl. I think it's classic rock, Classic Vinyl, I believe the name of it. It's on Sirius XM, unsirius XM, whatever. And so it's cool to be able to, if you get 35 minutes worth of commercials running and you are trying to listen to the news, and you just pop the other button and whoo, there's Rolling Stones come on, commercial free, or whoever they're playing next. So I listen to that a lot. And it's funny, I'll maybe have the news on or something, and I will and they go into commercials. And that's my thing about commercials. And I know we have sponsors, most people do, they have an audience, but they have gotten totally out of hand on the radio and TV. I mean, totally out of hand. I think the FCC eliminated or greatly reduced the restrictions that used to be around. This is like a decade ago or more. And I don't have to tell you, turn on any show, cable especially, or anything, and you watch, and TV Land, here's an example. Things like that. We're going to watch one of those old shows, Gunsmoke or something. It's almost unwatchable, even if you have it recorded on a DVD, and you got the clicker, the button in your hand. It's almost unwatchable. You've got to fast forward, for what? It seems like 20 seconds to get back to, it's almost unwatchable. So anyway, that's my excuse for bugging out of it. I don't mind a few commercials. It's a commercial world. It's capitalism. It makes the world go round. It's just too much. But anyway, I'll just pop over the commercial. After the commercials have gone on for 8 minutes straight, whatever it seems like, I'll pop classic vinyl. Oh, yeah, and there's Hey Jude playing or something. And then I may not go back. I forget about the news because I get into the music, So just a lesson to you folks doing news broadcasts or whatever else it might be. So speaking of that, and I guess I should take 8 minutes, at least like I was talking about, because it really is, it's excessive on most TV shows. It really is. Thank goodness. Of course, you have to pay for it. There's no free lunch. So I pay to have that option to punch the button and get my classic vinyl, or whatever I want. Willie's Roadhouse, Prime Country. I'm really weird. I'll jump from rock to really old country music, like Willie's Roadhouse, Prime Country, and there's some other. I'm paying for all these stations, and I use 3 or 4. Yeah, kind of the way it is on TV, isn't it? We have all these stations and things, and I just don't take full use of them. But you have to pay and buy all these channels in most cases, if you're still old-fashioned, you have cable, in order to get the ones you want, like the Western Channel, So, although the Western Channel's gotten kind of bad about running the same movies over and over for month after month, year after year, how many times can you run El Dorado? I love those movies. Yellow Sky, good movie, but over and over, and here it comes again a month later, and it's every day, They're just running out of Westerns, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, so what was I going to do? I don't know. Did I have anything to talk about? I had something to shoot. This is the 870. Okay, now this is, you may have seen it. If you're brand new, what are you doing starting out watching a Sunday video? But this is the 870 that probably overpaid for. Everybody thinks I did. This was the Wilson Combat. So it's not really a Remington 870, it's a Wilson Combat. No, it's not really Wilson Combat, it's scattergun technology. It's all those things. It's a Remington 870, and if you can see, scattergun technologies on the side there. And it's done by Wilson Combat. Scattergun technology started out in Nashville, I guess. That's when I knew of them, and that would have been back in 80s. I think 80s, late 80s maybe. But they were right in Nashville, 21st Avenue. No, 8th Avenue, I guess. Yeah, becomes Franklin Road. Because I stopped in their shop a time or two, talked to them about a firearm. I don't know if I bought my first one in there, or I don't know, but I remember going in there and talking to them. And, but they were bought, and I don't know, they may have been located somewhere else after that, before Wilson Combat kind of bought them or whatever. But I always liked them because I like the sight they make. That Scattergun Tech peep sight, ghost ring sight. To me, it's state of the art. It's the best in the industry. There may be some I'm not aware of, but it's perfect. It's small. You don't have the giant. You don't need the giant wings or any of that. It's just great. But so I've liked it. I've been a fan of the Scattergun Technology shotguns for a long time, and I hadn't had this thing out. It dawned on me. Just hadn't had it out, and it's a key home defense piece too. I hadn't had it out here. And you notice I sneaked. Most of you'd realize that I ran out of ammo during the intro, and I slipped in a slug on that last shot so I could take a shot at Mr. Gong. And since I hit Mr. Gong, that's further evidence that was a slug, that it was not birdshot, right? Yeah, you could tell. A nice shot. And I mean, they did a lot of slicking and everything. You know, they took an 870 and they just did. I guess they still do it. This is I think called. It's not on it, but I believe it's. What is the model? It's the Border Patrol. I think it was called. The Border Patrol. Now there's a whole video right there. Ooh, what a politically charged name, the Border Patrol. And most of my life, the and the Border Patrol has been has had very positive connotations. Well, they still do for me and for most people. But the Border Patrol is a tough area to, you know, we think of the southern border mainly, I think. And there are a lot of gun writers that had worked on the Border Patrol because it was, I don't know, what would you say, kind of the last vestige of the Wild West in a lot of ways, all the way up into, well into the 1900s, 1970s, 80s, whatever. Today, because a lot of wide open country, and you know, agents find themselves out there alone or outnumbered, and so whatever they carried, whatever firearms they carried, it was it's always been interesting to gun owners because for the same, not that they're Navy SEALs, but it's always interesting to gun owners, people interested in self-defense and having quality firearms, effective firearms. Interesting what special units choose, right? You might not agree, you might not want what special ops people choose, what the Navy SEALs choose, or the Border Patrol chooses, the LA Police, or whatever the agency might be, the CIA, the FBI. But you do know, especially in the days before the internet, I mean, there are articles and all that, but and you read books about it, but it wasn't as commonly known what everybody was adopting or carrying, and people in general were not as knowledgeable, I think, about all the various firearms as we are today because the internet. So it's still interesting. It always has been. You know what the people carried, where unlike most of you and me, we lead our lives around our house, going to work, back and forth. We could run into anything, of course, but we're not as likely to have problems. We'd like to be prepared, but we're not likely to have a problem. Be in a shootout this afternoon. Whereas if you're on the Border Patrol or you're in the FBI, you're the local county police, whatever you're doing, there's more chance you're going to need this tool, okay? Because you're going where the trouble is. You and I are staying away from the trouble. That's our main goal in life, right? Just stay away from it. Avoid it. Don't go where it might be. My four-wheeler's talking to me or something. Whereas their job is to be on call and go to the trouble. So that ups the ante a bit, and we all know that. And so they test firearms. I'm telling you stuff you already know. You know, like the FBI, the famous ammo tests. They're famous for. And what are they famous for? They're famous for putting ammo and firearms through the test, and I don't know if they're the definitive answer on all of it, but they're credible. You know, we trust most of those agencies because, you know, they're pretty scientific about it, right? So anyway, that's a lot of words to just say. The Border Patrol and anybody else that is out there on the front lines, what they choose things that make sense to them, and quite often they make sense to us. You know, if it's for a defensive firearm, it's a good old shotgun, 12 gauge, a pump gun, reliable, hard to beat, right? So I like the gun. I'm glad I spent the money for it, even if I did overspend. Sometimes there are firearms. Let me load some slugs while I'm yakking here. I get to talking and I forget to shoot. Sometimes, you've probably done it if you've been into firearms very long. I have done it. I have spent more for a firearm that I really figured it was probably worth, but just hard to find. Can't find them. Maybe you're frustrated you can't find them anywhere. One exactly like you want, in the condition you want. Maybe it's an old military surplus rifle or whatever it might be. And when you buy it, you know, I could, if I really took another year, 6 months and searched, I might find one like this. But this one is exactly what I want. The guy's asking more than really it's worth to some extent. But yeah, you go ahead and buy it. Yeah, so sometimes it's just not easy to find exactly what you want, and so maybe it is worth that. It is worth your time and your frustration to just go ahead and buy it. Even if it's $100 more than you think it's worth, but you may be 5 years finding one, you know, like that. So it's the way it is. So I've got the rest of that box of slugs in here. Let's put, well, I'll just shoot these 4, and then I might shoot some later. How's that? Depends on how long y'all hang around. Let's try to hit the gong again to make sure it was not a fluke. Okay? I might be a fluke, but this shotgun's not. You probably can't see it, but it's definitely moving it around. Yeah, man. Since we've got a slug, let's just pop the propane tank. Oh, we killed it. Don't roll down the hill, please. I have to go get you. Oh, this bowling pin. Some of y'all been around a while might remember this this ingenious rig I have. It's actually a cardboard target stand right here close, that closest bowling pin. That thing has been sitting over here kind of in the weeds for years. And the other day I walked by and said, you know, you can get that thing out. That was a pretty neat target. We used to have it over on the main range. All I did was string some wire across and then put a bowling pin in there and wrapped it around. And so you can shoot a bowling pin without it falling off, but yet it moves. Kind of like just a swinger. All right, bowling pin, you swinger. Well, he wasn't ready for a slug, though. Okay. Normally you can shoot it and it bounces around. 12 gauge slug is a different animal. Okay. Quite a different animal. All right, let's see if I can put one on the coffin over there. Oh boy. It's one of my large caliber rifles. One of my favorite large caliber rifles. I'll tell you what, a good shotgun, you can just, you can almost get by without anything else, all right? If you don't need to conceal it, the thing is hard to beat. Good old 12 gauge. One thing I was gonna maybe talk about, you know, 12 gauge is just hard to beat. It still plays a key role in my home defense, put it that way. A lot of people have moved to carbine, you know, 5.56 or some other, a rifle, a small rifle, otherwise known as a carbine, also otherwise known as a carbine, right? Just like when I'm mountain climbing, I'm rock climbing, you know, I get my rope and I loop it through my carabiners, right? No, yeah, the carbine has probably replaced the shotgun for a lot of people, for a lot of experts, for a lot of highly trained people, for a lot of people who have no problem shooting a shotgun. So let me say that. You see them on YouTube. A lot of people with Grand Thumb or anybody else, people that they're actual operators and can handle a firearm. And I don't know. I don't know who likes a shotgun, who doesn't. But my point is, people who could shoot either one quite well. Okay. However, I still think one of the reasons the carbine has replaced the shotgun in so many cases, which is kind of the reason the 9mm has replaced the 40 and 45 in a lot of cases, not everyone, is it's easier to train people to shoot 9mm if you're not an experienced gun person, all right? And if you're not an experienced gun person, accustomed to being knocked around by a 12 gauge and going on and shooting 20 more, you know, then a 5.56 is great. 9mm carbine or whatever, virtually no recoil, just a lot of noise, right, out of a 5.56, but no recoil essentially, and very effective. You know, lots of capacity and all that. And it's a rifle, and so it has replaced the shotgun for a lot of people. Not me, really. I have an AR handy I could get to quickly, but not as quickly as my shotgun. Yeah, or maybe a couple of shotguns. I still like the shotgun. Uh, I mean, I'm a big guy. The recoil doesn't, bother me at all. And that 12 gauge is just hard to beat. It's hard to beat. So, but it's a decision everybody has to make, whether you're, not everybody, but if you are keeping a long gun for defense, do you want the rifle or do you want the shotgun? That's a 3-hour talk, isn't it? But I like them both. I'm good either way. The noise on the 5.56, I always talk about how I'd better have some ear protection, and I'd better get the bad guy, the home invader, on the first shot, because if I ever fire a 5.56 indoors with no hearing protection, I think I'll probably be rendered unconscious. My brain will be jello. If you ever fired a 5.56 outside with no ear protection, it almost turns your brain to jello then. So now shotgun 12 gauge is a big blast, of course, but it's just a big blast. It doesn't hurt. I could shoot today without forget my ears, and it's not going to hurt my ears. I'm not going to like it, but it's not going to deafen me and be painful. Like a rifle, a true rifle would be. So anyway, that's just one of my problems. But again too, I just like a 12 gauge. I like a shotgun. It could be 20 gauge, but I just like a shotgun. Hard to beat. Hard to beat. So that's a nice gun. It really is. I'll have to say. And I've got another firearm here. You didn't see it because I didn't do the close-up. Guess what? You're the first to know. I did find, I told you, let's see, in the Security 6 video that all of you saw, just posted it last week, I said I was looking for a stainless security, a Service 6, right? Fixed sights. And I would buy one when I found one. Looking around, obviously I didn't need it in any desperate hurry, but I noticed there was one on Gunbroker for, gosh, I don't know, days and days, just like what I was looking for, except it's blue. So I just bypassed it, and I checked by every now and then, looked around the internet, gun shops, and it's just hard to find. It's hard to find. And if you do, if it was a police trade-in, if it was a police gun, it might be in worse shape than I want, because I just want one, and not necessarily a truck gun or junker. I just want pretty good shape, just somewhere, but in pretty good shape. And I figured I'd run across one. Well, I got to looking at that blue one again a few times, and do I want blue? And I'd already ordered some special grip. I knew I was going to buy one. Have you ever done that before? Just like having ammo for a gun you don't have yet, but you know you're going to buy one. I bought some grips, and kind of a white ivory grips, not ivory, plastic or whatever, polymer, because I just thought they'd be cool if I did get one where the grips were chewed up or something. And so I had the grips here, and anyway, I got to look at that blue one. I thought, you know what? Maybe I don't need stainless. I've got a lot of cool stainless guns, and those whitish grips would look better on a blue gun. And this one is actually what I'm looking for, really. It's the vintage. It's 1977, and it doesn't have read the instruction manual on the barrel. It's prior to that. I don't know when they started that. It must have been like 79 or something, or 78. And looked it over, looked at the pictures and carefully, and I just bought it. And here it is. So I got my Security 6. Yeah, I have it out here today to try out. And ain't it pretty? I put those grips on it that I bought, and I think they look cool on this blue gun. Now it's got the grips are fine that came on, so I can move them back and forth if I want. It's got the wooden grips like that. These are a little bit fatter, so they feel actually a little bit better than the originals to me. But the originals are fine. and they even had the pin in it and everything. They look good, but I like these better. Look neat on that stain or that blue gun. And of course, it's got the fixed sights. I put a little paint on the front, and it seems solid. Got some wear, which is fine. I would expect it to. It probably was carried by some cop, right? Somewhere along the way, maybe not. Might have been yours. Might have been that one that you regret selling back 20 years ago or 10 years ago. We all have a lot of those, right? They end up somewhere. Like all those firearms I regret trading, they're in somebody's safe right now, or closet, or they're out shooting them right now. How rude, right? I had the Ruger Blackhawk in 45 Colt that I traded in Franklin, Tennessee. I even tried to run it down a few years later, and that was, I don't know, 70, when did I trade that? Probably 75, somewhere along in there, in Franklin, Tennessee. And somebody has that gun. They've probably had it for decades. And but that and my old Python made in the 60s, traded that about the same time. Yeah, I ought to be kicked. But anyway, this gun is one of those. So I'm getting even with somebody. They're probably sorry they traded this firearm. So anyway, I'll shoot it. Okay. So now I have my 6. My service 6. I like this better than the security 6. The speed 6 is fine, but I don't need a speed 6. Not a lot of difference. And I'm going to shoot it, okay? I'm going to shoot some 38 special. I actually shot 6 rounds, okay, yesterday, and it seems to be on. All right, didn't want to get it too dirty because I knew I'd want to shoot it today. I think I told you all, when I find one, I'd drag it out, okay? So, well, I blew the I blew the bullseye out of that, so let's see if I can pull one in the bullseye. I must have, because there's no hole in the paper. Cowboy, let's christen it with you. All right. Nice. Those sights are right on. Let's try an orange 2-liter. Yeah. Let's throw one at the gong. Let's don't. Some of you who were counting my rounds were probably just laughing in your beer, right? Thought I had one more. Thought I was going to put the last one on the gong. Okay, let's shoot it again. All right. Okay, got to hold up on it about halfway. Yep. All right, pig, I'm going to shoot you double action. Yeah, I got him. Okay. All right. I guess that rear sight looks like it's probably on. I probably won't have to adjust that rear sight. You think? I brought a screwdriver in case I did. Yeah, I had to adjust the rear sight, but it looks like I won't have to adjust it or the front sight. Okay, we're good. Wasn't that hilarious? If you're so new to shooting, you didn't get that joke. Well, it might mean you didn't get the joke, or you'd never get my jokes. That's why I like it. That's why I like it. Okay, for y'all who still can't figure out why I kind of like even Glocks, but fixed sights and this kind of thing. Of course, this has the hammer spur, but it's just nothing to hang on. And of course, it's empty. I'm rubbing my hand all around it, but there's nothing to hang on. And the sight picture is fine, very good. So if these sights are on, and most of these guns like this are, whether it's a Smith or a Colt or anything, and they've just got the not a ramp, but just a gutter, along the top and all that. If they're on, I don't need adjustable sights. So many firearms I've told y'all I have bought, Smiths and everything, and take them out, and usually they're on pretty well to begin with, but if you have to adjust them just a little bit, you adjust them. I never touched them for like 30 years, but yet I've got that big sight blade sticking up. And as far as I'm concerned, that's a good, I don't know if you can see it, but that's a good sight picture. I'll see if I can line it up, point it at myself there, but it's clear. I'm not really pointing at myself, but I'm trying to get an idea if it's it's a distinct. It's not just someone took a file and ground a groove there in the top strap. It's very, very clear, and I may put a little black paint on it just to make it even more clear. But it's got a very distinct, what would you call it, an opening, just like you'd have on the blade. So I like it. Okay. So that's cool. That's cool. I got my Security 6. No, my Service 6. So mission accomplished. There's another one. It was not cheap, really, for what it is. But again, they're collectible and you can't find them. And once I decided, yeah, this is what I want. Yeah, I bit the bullet. Okay, so now I have it. All right, I bit the bullet. Where's the bullet? Let me bite it. I won't do that. Okay, I don't want to keep you guys too late. Gosh, some of you are past your bedtime. Man, I don't know what else I don't have anything important. I don't know about John's comedy. I think he's at Zany's, I believe July 29th. You check, see what's going on there. Be sure you're in touch with your representatives. I always want to remind you of that. All the crazy proposals coming down, they're always coming down, and we just have to hold the dam, basically, hold the dam. And when people, I still see that line occasionally, nobody's coming after your guns. Well, it's pretty obvious who they vote for, right? But whenever you see that or hear someone say, nobody's coming after your guns, just laugh. Just laugh. It's probably the best answer, right? Man, I mean, it's just people trying to save the world, the utopia. Again, I think a lot of it is young people who haven't had enough strife in their lives. And that's not all young people, but people who have not had enough strife in their lives. They think there's utopia. They can create the perfect society, just like Cuba has, right? They can create the perfect society if just given a chance, and that ain't gonna happen. There's no perfect company, there's no perfect family, no perfect person, no perfect anything. Everything has warts, and it's just a matter of which warts you want, okay? And I want the warts of freedom. There's warts with freedom, I'll take those gladly. But because as they say, there's probably more freedom and more of our rights are lost or in jeopardy in the interest of doing good. What's the old line? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. A lot of people have the best of intentions, but I'm sorry, it's not good enough. I'm glad you are trying to help people. You're trying to create a better world. That's commendable, I guess, that you have those feelings, but you're not thinking enough about that, not thinking critically or deeply enough, because that world does not exist. And in order to do what you're trying to do, create what you're trying to create, you are eliminating freedoms, okay, bit by bit, okay? So be aware of that. And let's keep the world open, okay? Can I shoot this again? Let me shoot some Magnums. Okay, now this is like a Glock 19. You know it when you shoot a Magnum, and you may not want to shoot a lot of Magnums in it. You might want a Red Hawk or a bigger or a GP100. Again, that's why they came out with the GP100 and then the Smith L frames to withstand the power of the Magnum. Okay. You get a couple of advantages at least. Doesn't kick as much because it's a heavier firearm, right? And then also you don't beat up the gun as badly, not as hard on the firearm. I will shoot 38 specials in this mostly, plus P, and light magnums, things like that. I mean, I'll shoot magnums in some, but I don't have to. If I want to shoot some really hot magnums, I have some firearms that can handle that just fine, like a Model 27 and my GP 100, right? All right, let's shoot some magnums. Well, I blew out the bullseye in the first shot. Let me just shoot the Federal logo. Boom! How about the Buds logo? How about the SDI logo? Woo! South Central. Oh, shot a little high. Well, we've got some. I'll save Talon grips and ballistol. Not shoot them. Let's shoot the pig. Well, I got Magnum rounds in here. Oh man, moved him. How about this red plate? Boom, rocked him. So, good old 357 Magnum that can be whatever you want it to be, as long as it's a 357 Magnum or a 38 Special, right? And there's a wide range of even Magnum rounds, and then there's certainly a wide range of 38 Special. And as I've said in other videos, you know, a firearm like this is like, wow, talk about versatile. And with some stout 357 Magnum rounds in here, maybe even some 180 grain hard cast or whatever. You know, there are people carry this type of firearm and load in bear country. Even penetration's the main thing, you know, bear country. And you can enjoy it on the range, shooting 38 Special, 357, whatever you want. If you have someone who's recoil sensitive, young, smaller person, whatever in your family, somebody you're introducing to firearms, put some 38 Specials in it. You could even start them out with some really light 38 Specials. There are some that, wow, they're not much in this, more than a 22 long rifle, I feel like. Yeah, so you have a really versatile firearm in something like this. Plus, mid-size like this is like a Glock. It's like a Smith & Wesson Model 19. It's just sort of average size. It's probably not too big and heavy for anybody. So yeah, it's big enough to control recoil, 4-inch barrel. That paint on the front sight's not a bad job, is it? Yeah, I should be a painter. Actually, I was for a year or two. Yeah, I'm pretty good at painting. That's something I have skills at. Okay, there aren't many things I have skill at, but that's one of them. I don't want to be doing it again, though. That's why I bought a log house. Yeah, I'm a reformed painter. I bought a log house, right? So anyway, what else? Shoot with shotgun again. And okay, let me put some. I wonder if it'll use these competition paper. I don't know if I tried those in it or not. Let's tape close. Yeah. Hope y'all, there's my knife around the table. Hope y'all getting a chance to shoot this summer, a little bit at least. Ammo situations improving ever so slightly, not a lot. I've not tried these in here. We'll see if the chamber, safety on. Yeah, it feels like they're gonna work okay. And these are 7.5 inch shot, 1 ounce and an eighth, so they're a little heavier than the 1 ounce stuff we're usually firing. 7.5 shot. Let's take a couple shots with some of these. What we have left. I'm not going to shoot those bowling pins down there pretty far away. I'd probably be okay, but it's better off not to shoot bowling pins with bird shot. Okay, any kind of shot probably. And that's ironic. It's more dangerous to shoot those bowling pins with shot than it is that red plate right there, or those black plates, whatever color. I'll shoot that red plate. Boom. And that black one. And that one right there. Nice. And why is that? Well, again, it's, you know, you got a flat, hard steel and everything hits it and just goes out. Imagine, I've talked about this before in the video, shooting steel safely. If you've not seen that, you might want to watch that one. I think there was some useful information in it. Shooting steel safely, I think, is the title of it. Yeah, that's right. I actually, yeah, we put, that was a pretty good demo, in fact. If you don't understand what the lead does when it hits flat steel like that, now you could get something back. You shoot lead at your own, you shoot steel at your own risk, all right? I do, everybody does. But in that video, I think I almost started out with, I had a couple 2 liters lying like below or around some of the steel targets just to show where it goes, and had popped those 2 liters right away. They were just lying down below the target, you know, some things like that. So the steel, if you can imagine throwing a water balloon at the wall, that's kind of what happens for the most part. It doesn't come back at you unless you're standing right upon it. It just goes out in all directions, and it's kind of what happens with lead. Not to say it couldn't come back. That's why you don't want an edge where it can hit it and come back. You know, reroute the splatter back in your direction. I talked about that in the video and showed some different targets that I've gone through the years as I've had targets made and designs and that kind of thing. So, you know, that's fun. Can I shoot it again? Nothing like a good old 12 gauge. Safety on. It's a fun gun to shoot, to say the least. An 870, I think a lot of us, including myself, we're more obsessed with Mossberg 590s and that kind of thing these days. But I never really forget about the old 870. I still like them. And I like the 590. All right. What am I going to shoot? What am I going to shoot? I don't know. A good old shotgun, hard to beat. Hard to beat. So I don't know if I have anything else to talk to you about or not. I'm just happy to have a, yeah, did I? Yeah, we're good. Let me make sure I hit the gong enough to make sure you knew it wasn't a fluke that I hit the gong. Yeah. It seemed like there was something else y'all were dying to hear about, and I don't know what it was. Oh, I know one thing I made a note about. I see a comment whenever we make a video live. Often I will make them live early for patrons, okay, over on the Patreon channel. I've talked about that. There's a link to the Patreon channel in every description and everything. And we don't do a lot of special videos and that kind of thing. Just people wanted to throw in a buck or whatever, you know, mainly. And so I will make a video live over for Patreon patrons, sometimes 4 or 5 days or a couple of days, whatever, early, before it's seen on the main channel. That's all that is. So people will see a comment, this video is live, how come there's a 3-day-old comment, or whatever they might see on the video. And that's the reason, okay? Right? So just clue you in on that. If you want to be a patron, it's simple enough, just go to the link. But yeah, speaking of that, this is the Gong Club range that the patrons built and continue to keep alive, right? As I try to kill the targets. So anyway, that's what that's about. And I think most people know that, but I still see a lot of comments about that, and people perplexed about why there's a comment, you know, there. So anyway, you all take care, have a great week, and I hope to see you next week, standing probably right here, doing much of the same thing with a firearm that I am enjoying. And you know, there are not many firearms I do not enjoy, but that's what this is about. Just bringing out a firearm I'm in the mood to shoot for the most part. Sometimes it's something we're in the process of testing, about to test, and so that still falls under I'm in the mood, because I know we're going to shoot this thing some more and I want to shoot it a couple times, you know, or before I send it back I want to shoot it some more, whatever it might be, okay? Today, these are both my firearms, and they stay with me and I really am fond of both of them. Okay, because I don't have many firearms, and again, this Service 6, the Ruger Security 6, this family of Rugers it's just further illustrates what I talk about pretty often about how vast the hobby is, so many different firearms there are. And if you really enjoy firearms, you like the machinery of them, if you're a true firearms enthusiast, put it that way, and all of you are somewhere different on that scale. You're in a different place on that scale, right? There's some of you just crazy, way like me, way up that scale. Others somewhere in the middle, and others, he was a passing interest enough to watch gun videos. You might get a gun someday or something. So we got people on that spectrum all over the place, right? But and it might be, if you're a little bit lukewarm about firearms, it could be you just don't have enough experience yet with them. You've not been bitten in a big way. That's a lot of it. I always like to say that the only people who don't like shooting are people who haven't done it before. It's like throwing darts. It becomes addictive, and firearms are just so interesting. And a lot of people just don't realize how interesting they are. And some of those people, even once they tried some firearms, they would not be interested. I understand that. But there's a great world of people as they're born and become 6 years old and 10 and 15 that don't realize yet if they got to a range, or if they have an uncle or a dad or mom or someone who introduces them to firearms, oh my gosh, they are hooked, because it's for, I don't know if I can say most people, but for a great percentage of people, people find it fun, very enjoyable, very enjoyable. And the hobby is so diverse. There's just so many different firearms. Here I am, part of my point I'm getting to is this long into my shooting endeavors, all these years, all these decades, and I'm just now discovering another firearm that is really cool, that I'm kind of fascinated by, as you saw from that video on the Ruger Security 6, how it comes apart and the simplicity of it, and how it's so different from a Smith or a Colt. Now, if you threaten me with my life, I'm still going to prefer probably a Colt or Smith & Wesson. But I like this. It's just really neat. And I got one in exactly the configuration I like, so it's really, really, really cool. And then too, it's like well, here I go, comparing guns with children, right? Give the gun haters more fodder, for their arguments that how we're all just nuts. But it's the same with anything. If you have 4 cars, which one do you like the most? I like them all. I like this Ruger. I like the Smiths. I like the Colts. I like them all. That's why some of the videos we do on the last gun I'd ever sell, the last AR or last Colt or whatever it is so tough. The last 357. Remember, this one didn't make that video. I have to do it. I'm going to do a remake of those already. Can you believe that? The last 1911 I'd ever sell. Since I made that video, that's been within the last year. I have 2 1911s that I didn't own at the time of that video, that would be in there in the top somewhere. I had to think about it, yeah. And same with 357 Magnum. We just did that video not long ago. And here I've got one that would be somewhere in that mix. I don't know if it would be a finalist or where, but I didn't think about it. But so anyway, there's so many firearms, and maybe try not to do what I did. You don't need to own all of them, and I don't own all of them, but I own more than I need, right? Don't we all? But you can have a great deal of fun. But anyway, it's just a vast, diverse hobby, and boy, there's something for everybody. Don't be a gun bigot, as I always advise. Don't be a Ruger fanboy and spend all your time on the internet hating on Smith & Wesson. Don't be a Smith & Wesson fanboy and always hating on Colt, or vice versa. It's just a Glock versus, Springfield, whatever it might be. That stuff is so juvenile. It really is. Most of the firearms are fine, and they work. And it's just preference and feel, cost, and just all that kind of thing. As long as they work, they're okay. So anyway, I got off track. I think I had another point there to make, but I guess I won't make it because I'm not sure I remember what it was. There's just so many different firearms, and there is one for you. Put it that way. There's one that you will like, I guarantee. And I also guarantee you, even if you're, and I see comments from some of your either my age, older, you're 50, or whatever you are, you've been into firearms for a long time, you know your stuff. Uh, uh, you're still, discovering firearms, and you may not have ever had one of these either, like I haven't, and you never thought you really liked Rugers, for example. You'd probably like this gun. It's just pretty neat. Okay, just probably would. And I do prefer the forged steel, the Smith & Wesson, or a Colt. Generally speaking, some of the Rugers I still think they're overbuilt. They're really big. They're very strong. They probably are going to outlast the Colts and the Smith & Wessons. But I don't know, I just kind of like the sleek lines and the feel of the Colts and the Smiths better. Just always have. That Red Hawk I like. It's nice that I have. And I really like this. This really reminds me more of a Smith or a Colt because it's not so big. And it's strong enough, plenty strong. I showed you in that video, when you take it apart, the frame is all one piece, And I think that's one reason I like this so much. It's very streamlined, and it's big enough, but it's not a clunker, at all. And feels good. It even looks pretty with my grips on it. And that's the most important thing. They got to look pretty, right? So anyway, lots of firearms are something for everybody. It's a great hobby, and I will let you go, and I will talk to you later. I appreciate you, but I can't remind you enough how much we do appreciate you. I get to shoot for a living, and it's because of you all. It's the way it is. As I've said before, if you see me anywhere, say hi. Always speak. I certainly owe you a minute of my time because, again, you allow me to shoot for a living. This is not, again, a situation where I'm going to be fake polite. I am genuinely appreciative of people that watch our videos. I mean, obviously I run into you all the time, and I always say hi. If you don't, you're in trouble. No, I appreciate you. Again, I just can't have you here. There's a lot of you out there. I can't have you here, but I definitely want you to speak and say hi, and so I can make fun of you or something. If I see you somewhere in a restaurant or at the gas station, wherever it is. So y'all behave yourself this week, and try not to shoot too much. I know that's difficult these days with the ammo, hard to come by, but it's being made. It's being made a lot. It's being shipped and all that. It's just when it hits the store shelf, as I've said, it doesn't stay there long. That's what it is. It doesn't stay on the shelf as it did a couple of years ago. Same amount or more might be getting delivered to that shelf, but it's going out the door very quickly, right? So I'll talk to you later, and that will probably be next Sunday. Okay? Life is good.